Hello guys, welcome to my YouTube channel again. And in this tutorial I'll be showing you how you can design this travel flyer in CorelDraw from start to finish. And if you've not subscribed to my channel, please kindly hit the subscribe button and please don't forget to turn on the notifications so you won't miss any videos I'll be dropping. And please, if you like this video at the end of this tutorial, if you like my videos, please always give it a thumbs up so YouTube can show these videos I will drop into more persons, and you can also share too. Without further ado, let's get started. So the first things first, I click on file and I click on new. So for this tutorial I'm using the CorelDraw 2020. So if you have any other versions, you can also do well to follow along. Attached below this video is the resource file, the pictures I used, and the font, so you can also download all of those and use for yours too. So first things first, I'll give it a name, and I'll just give it a tall flyer, right? So for the color mode, this will be RGB, and the width set to 5, the height set to 5, and resolution stays at 300. After that, I'll just click OK. Then CorelDraw gets our workspace ready. So first things first, I like to always do, and I would also do here, is double click on this rectangle here. And in most cases, when you are using like for example here, if you are using the latest CorelDraw 2021, you might not have this option of double clicking like this and it's creating this rectangle inside of a page for you this way. So what you just simply do is just define your rectangle yourself manually. When you draw a rectangle, just come up here and change the values of what you want to use. In this case, 5 by 5. I click it, and when I'm done, I'll just press P on the keyboard to centralize it to the page. So either ways works. So having done that, I'll click on Shift function F4 or F4 on the keyboard, as the case may be. So I'll just give it a random color white for now, and I would remove the outline. You see guys, it has an outline, so I'll just remove the outline by right clicking here, remove the outline. So for this flyer design, we'll start with the basics, and so we'll be using the first color as the first layout for this design. So I'll just come up here and click on this paint bucket, just double click on the white area, and then it will load up this edit fill dialog box. Let it load up. So when it loads up the edit fill, this is the edit fill dialog box. When it loads up, click on this section that says color viewer. Click on it, and we don't have to do anything here. So the first color we'll be imputing is the code is currently the first color we'll be imputing is the hash, then BA4B, and 00. Having done that, just click OK. So this is like the first color we'll be using in this design. So we might go on to make this color furthermore, but this is what we'll be starting with. So the next thing I want to do is I want to type. So I'll just go on and type my details. Having done this, to go furthermore into arranging this text, I would break apart, Ctrl K on the keyboard, or you come up here and select break artistic text apart. So Ctrl K for that. So what I would like to do is for these two texts, I would use the same font. So I'll use the Morganite. I'll just type Morganite on the keyboard. So I'll quickly adjust this to the level I want this way, and I'll make this one somewhat bigger like this, and I'll bring this in like this. So I would like to use the, okay, so this is the one I'll be using. So for this, I will also change the font to what I used, and I would increase it just the way it is, just at this point, and I will also change this one to this. Okay guys, I think I have my font sorted out. Don't worry about the colors, we're making adjustment to that later on. So the next thing I want to do is I want to bring in my first image for this tutorial. So I'll just go over to where I have my resource file, and I'll just drag a picture of this model inside of a software like this, and kind of position it well like this. I can as well make this bigger this way. Make sure guys, when you're resizing your images, please don't fall into the trap of increasing like this, please. That's wrong. You can either go from this part or increase from this part, or increase just around the edges. So for this one now, I'll just make it a little bit smaller like this, and I would position this well. So the next thing I want to do is I would like to convert this to a grayscale image without colors. So I want to get rid of all these colors I have. I don't want any colors in the image. So what I'll do is I'll go to effects. Under effect, I'll go to effects, adjust. Under adjust, I'll go to image adjustment lab, guys. Image adjustment lab. So I'll bring this over to this part, and perhaps you might have other settings you have used previously. So what you just need to do is just click on this reset. Click on the resets, and all these settings, you can see the value has reverted to 0. Everything's at 0, so that's what we want to start with. That's a good place to start with. So what we just need to do is first thing we're doing here is reduce the saturation here. So I'll turn it all the way down to -100. As you can see in real time, make sure you click on this preview so you see what it actually looks like here. So the next thing we want to do is we want to add depth to this image. So we'll be working with the contrast. So we'll just bump this contrast up a little bit, not too much. I think I'm okay with it at 21. Then a little bit of the shadows, we just add it. I'll just set manually to 5, and the mid-tone I would bring down a little bit, probably to -12. So you can copy the values I used here. Saturation -100, contrast 21, shadows 5, and the midtones -12. Having done all of this, just head on to click OK. Okay, so that's the first step. So the next thing we want to do is we want to make this part blend into this background we have. So as usual, what we'll do, go to transparency tool, select it, and hold down the shift key while selecting the image. Make sure you're selecting the image. So hold down the shift key and just drag like this, so that this black point would end somewhere here. Make sure you're not making the mistake of bringing it outside like this. Now the reason why you're holding down your shift key is when you are applying this effect, it doesn't go all the way like this. So when you're holding your shift key, it's going straight in the straight line like this. So I'll just do that. I want to bring this a little bit up like this, and I think I'm cool with it the way it is here. Good. Okay, so the next thing we want to do is I want to balance off this background we have with the gradient effect. So what I will do is to activate the fountain fill. In CorelDraw is called fountain fill. So what you need to do is just simply click on the background, which is this one. Click on it and click on G on your keyboard. So by default, it will bring out this option and it takes you straight to the fountain fill. Now what we want to do on getting to the fountain fill is we click on this first one. We don't want to use all of this. This is the one we'll focus on. So click on this one Then automatically, if you notice, it has added another color to this existing color we have. So it's going from orange to white, but we don't really want that. Okay, so what we want to do is we don't want this kind of fountain fill. What we'll be using here is this elliptical fountain fill. So we'll select this one like this, and just as it is, this is the result we get. So it has this like vignette effect. So this is the one we'll be having. So before I go ahead, I will take this, the way this white is, I'll select this white point, click on it, make sure you're clicking on it. I'll just drag to this point like this. This is just to make sure that the reflection of the sun starts from this point. So having done this, we'll just go ahead and change this white point, because we don't want white. We want something that looks more like a sun. So we'll just go over to our color. We'll click on it, and I will just change our values here. So the next value we're using for this is hash f ed 047. And having done this, we just click enter, and automatically the color has changed. You see guys, so I'll just manually adjust it, make sure it's at the middle of our hair like this, make sure it doesn't exceed this point. So having done this, I would F4 to zoom out so I can actually get a better view of what I'm doing clearly. So the next thing I want to do is it seems this whole text thing is too big, so I would use it just a bit, just like this, and I'll increase her a little bit. So having done this guys, I'll come back to my image, and what I want to do is I want to convert it to bitmap again, because like as usual I want to add another effect to it. So I'll go to effects, and I'll go to bitmap, convert to bitmap, and make sure you set to RGB, and this is checked, and just click OK. Okay guys, I've converted to bitmap. Now the next thing I want to be doing is I want to fade these aspects of her hair, just so the image I'll be using for my double exposure would actually sit well with her. So what I want to do is I would go over to my transparency tool. You know, the first time we applied it to this part, now we'll apply it to this portion of her hair. So what we'll do is hold down the shift, and I'll just drag, and somewhat like this. Yes, at this point it's good. So I'll just with this part here, this one, I'll just drag like this to this point, and we'll take this inside just a bit, and I'll move this black inside just a bit, perhaps even drag it up like this. Okay guys, this is the way I would want this to be. So having done this, I'll just leave this like this, and I would go ahead and apply another effect to this. Now remember I said we'll be creating a sun effect, and with the way this one is now, this is not okay. So what I would want to do next is I would select the ellipse tool, click on it, and I would hold down my control key and draw a proportional circle like this. If you don't hold down your control key, this is what you'll be having. So as good practice, hold down your control key while trying to draw this ellipse. So I'll go back to my pick tool, and I'll change the color. I'll make it yellow, just give it this yellow. So this is what we'll be working with. So I'll remove the outline so it doesn't get in the way. Remove the outline like this. The next thing we'll do is go to transparency tool and select fountain fill. Next thing you'll be selecting is elliptical fountain transparency. You want like a lighting effect. So having gotten this, what we want to do is want to power clip it inside of this. Let me just get this out of the way over here, because that's not what we'll be needing it. We want to put it inside, so it forms like a sun effect inside of this image. We don't want it on top, we want it behind her. So what you want to do is you want to power clip it inside of this shape. So what we'll do is right click, selecting this ellipse we did, right click and navigate to where you have power clip inside. This is where I have mine. Yours might be on top here, but this is where I have mine. The bottom line is just navigate to where you have power clip inside. So I'll select power clip inside and I will select the squared box itself. Now what you observe is CorelDraw just puts it anywhere it wants, but that's not what we want. We want to adjust it. So what we'll do is double click on the box itself. Now we have we can now edit this inside. So I'll just drag it somewhere here like this, around this model, around this region. And I would also hold down my shift key and just make this bigger. So I'll make this somewhat bigger like this, and I'll just make sure it doesn't exceed this point where I have my text and everything. So what I want to do next is I'll just click on finish to see what I have on the outside. Okay guys, this looks nice. So I'll just maintain this like this. Well, you can just edit further. I'll just bring this down a little bit to this region like this, and when I'm done I'll just double click outside like this to end exactly what I'm doing. So guys, the next thing I will want to do is I want to introduce the next image. So I'll go over to where I have my resource file open here already. So I'll just bring in this image of this camel in the desert. So I'll just drag inside like this and place it here. Okay, so now this is the form part for this image. Now what we want to use to simulate their effect is this our transparency tool. So we just come over here, and for the first part we want a little bit of these areas visible on the image. So what we'll just do is just hold down your shift and drag. So I will not drag it to the edge too much like this. I'll just leave it like this. So this is good. I'll zoom out to see what I'm doing clearly. When I zoom out, I would go over to a bitmap and convert to bitmap like this. Selecting the point like this, I'll just convert to bitmap. So the next thing I'll do is I would come over to this side, this region where I have the sun. Now you must be very, very careful because we want to also make use of this sun here, the cast of the sun here. So what we'll do is, let me zoom closer so we'll see what you're doing clearly. So what I'll do is I'll take my transparency tool again and hold down the shift key and I'll just draw, but I'll make sure this black region is not close to the sun. So I'll just leave here and I'll just let it make that effect there. Don't worry about it's being faded like this. We can always make do with it. So when I've done that, the next thing to do is go to bitmap again and convert this image to bitmap again. You don't have to change anything here, just click OK. And the next thing I want to do is select the transparency tool again, hold down the shift key, and I'll drag to the sky. I don't want most part of the sky faded because I want to make a balanced effect. So what I'll do is I'll put it around this region and I'll just leave it like this. As you can see guys, it's already making sense now. So what I would like to do is I'll go back to bitmap again, convert this image to bitmap again like this. Okay, so I would like to zoom out, go to my pick tool, go over to my transparency tool and apply the same effect to this portion. So with this now, I would select, make sure you are not selecting close to the camel, be mindful of where the camel is. So what I'll do is I would go to bitmap again and convert to bitmap. Click OK. So I'll go over to my pick tool and I want to resize this way. So I'll just resize and make this a little bit smaller so we don't have it covering the whole of our image. Good. Okay, so somewhere around this area is nice. So I'll be resizing from the edge like this. Good. So on this image now, I'll click on the transparency to bring out that control. So what I have here now, like where we finished off, so I would want to make some of our hair blend into this image we have. So I'll just simply just drag this down a bit like this, and I will elongate this just to create that balanced effect. So I'll extend this a bit and zoom close, so I have portion of our hair revealed like this. Good. So at this point I'm okay with it, so I'll go back to this camel, and what I would like to do is I would like to bring in a little bit like this in this region. Okay, as you can see guys, this is how you can actually create this effect inside CorelDraw. So the next thing we're doing is we want to make it more realistic. So we'd want to apply the sun effects. You know, we had it here before, but we had to fade it. So what I would like to do is, with the last image I have, with the last resource file, I'll click it, this lighting effect, I'll just bring it inside like this and drop it here. But we won't be dropping this image directly onto the composition we have here. So what we want to do is, the first things first, we want to go up here to effects and click on blur and Gaussian blur, and we'll just blur it up onto this part somewhat like this, and click OK. 20.4, that's what I used, so you can use that value, just impute it and click OK. So I haven't done this. What I want to do is I'll click on transparency tool, and I'll just change this from normal to screen for lights, and I'll just drag it onto this composition and make it smaller. Yes, good. So make this smaller, and make sure we put it in this region like this. Let me increase the size a little bit. Okay, so to make it more obvious, you can just Control C to copy and Control V to paste. So you can keep pasting to increase the intensity of the sun, but I'll just paste once because I like the way mine is like this. Okay, so having done that, I would want to work more on this part of this image because I feel the effect I added to isn't really doing its work around this region. So I'll just click on this shape, this shape, and what I want to do is I would extend this furthermore like this, so it blends into this text I have here a little bit more. You can drag the slider here like this and make it somewhat like this, as you can see guys, like I've done to mine. So what we need to do is to make this whole thing balanced well, what we can do is I would take this, make sure it's not close to the edge, like this, and I'll just select everything, select all the text, and I would want to add a little bit of this color to it. So I'll just hold down my Control key and click on this probably like 4 times. As you can see now, I've toned this from black to this color. So the next thing I'll be doing, I'll be adding other details to this, but before I do that, I want to make this a little bit bigger. So I'll select this whole thing, I'll select everything, and I will group, Ctrl G, or you come here and select group. So you have all this image together now. Now to avoid the problem of when you want to save, you have things outside, I'll just cut this, Ctrl X, and double click on this image where I have my power clip things, and just paste it inside. So while it's inside here like this, so I can now increase the size like this, and I would not have to worry about it being outside of this region like this. So having done that, I'll just click finish, or I'll just hold down Control and double click outside like this to finish things off. Okay, so having done this, I would select this text and actually make it a little bit smaller, like this, and I would push it up just a bit so I can add the other details that are remaining. So I'll just use this text double click it, Ctrl C and Ctrl V, and I'll just write out what I need to write out. So this is features. I'll make it white, and I'll make it smaller like this. I'll also duplicate this, Ctrl C and Ctrl V. I'll make this smaller. Probably I'll change the text. To what I used exactly. I'll start typing what I want to. So we have return tickets, and I have accommodation. I have travel insurance. I have airport and hotel. I have local food, photo. Okay, great. So I'll just change the color to black, to white like this. So I'll just change the color to white, and I'll move in place just like this, right, guys? So I'll zoom out to see what I've done. And the next thing I want to add is just a bullet point to just highlight all of this I have here. But before then, I'll go to my shape tool, and I will just drag this point to create space between this text. The next thing I'll do is I'll come back here to my rectangle tool, and I'll zoom close and just draw little squares. I'll give it white, remove the outline just the way it is like this, and I'll just make duplicate copies of this. Ctrl C, Ctrl V, and duplicate all of this here, and place the last one here. Okay, great. And to finish this off, I want to add one last effect to it. So so we don't leave it the way it is. I'll just push this one a little bit upward like this. And so what you do is go to the rectangle you have here and just drag and draw. Now we'll be using this color, so I'll just come and select from the existing color we have here, which is this color, right? Good. So I'll remove the outline just like this, and I'll go over to my transparency tool and just make it transparent like this, right? But before I do that, I'd want to make this a little bit darker. So I'll hold down my control key and come to the black I have here and just click on it up to the point where I want, somewhat like this. I haven't done that. I've achieved the effect I want, but I would deal with this. What I want to do is I'll go to effects and bitmap, convert to bitmap, and I'll click OK. So the next thing I'll do is I'll come back to my transparency tool, select it, and I'll just hold down my shift key and blur this out totally, so I don't have that region showing. So having done this, I'll just make this bigger like this, and I'll Ctrl X to cut it. Double click on the rectangle to access the power clipped area, and I'll just paste it here. When I'm inside, I'll just drag from this point like this, and when I'm done, I'll double click to finish off what I'm doing. So I also want to duplicate these effects I did here. So what I'll just do is Ctrl C, Ctrl V, and I will drag this up like this, and what I'll do is I would click on this one here, mirror vertically, so we have it mirrored vertical like this. We don't want it interfering in this light region. Remember, the whole concept of this is we have our lights, which is our source from this part of it, and we have everything dark on this region to some extent, right? So we have somewhat like a vignette effect with what we just did here. So this is how you create a flyer as this, having this effect. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you've enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to give it a thumbs up so YouTube can recommend this video to much persons that will be needing it. And please, if you have not subscribed, hit the subscribe button and turn on the post notification so you'll be alerted when I drop a new video. I'll see you shortly in the next video.